Hi guys, your buddy Glasgog here. Welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be my thoughts and proposals on federal budget cuts. I'm hoping that President Trump is thinking somewhere along this way, because we seem to be thinking a lot alike here. Hopefully this is on his wavelength. Maybe I'll see this video and I'll take a good idea for it. So, to start the federal pay cut spending, we're going to start with pay cuts. The first people going to take the cuts are senators and congressmen. Under this cuts, no senator or congressman will be paid more than $100,000 a year, no matter their length in office. Doesn't matter how long they've been there. It's just going to be $100,000. I believe recently they gave themselves a pay raise up to $175,000 a year. I believe it was previously $150,000 a year. I'm not sure if they got that passed, but we're going to go and assume that they did for the $175,000 a year. And based on that, by cutting them down to $100,000 a year, we will now save over $42 million a year. That's $3.5 million a month. Now I know many of you are going to say, well, hell, that's just a drop in a bucket in a $3 trillion a year economy. But hey, you got to start somewhere. And that $42 million is less that you have to worry about paying. Besides, it'll make politicians in D.C. start working for the benefit of the Americans, not for their own pocketbook, as they'll have to be more thrifty on their spending. We'll also cut their spending budget that's not tied to their personal paycheck, but I don't have access to those figures, so there's a bit more money you can save there. Now, don't worry, the president's going to take a pay cut as well. Now, I know President Trump is going to take only $1 a year, but this will be for after he leaves office. I believe currently the president currently gets more than like $450,000 a year. We're going to cut that back to $150,000 to $200,000 a year. The only reason for the upscale in the pay for the president is that basically they will have a lot harder time going back to being a regular citizen with their time is over as compared to a senator or a congressman. And they're more of a target for terrorists and all that. So that's why for the pay jump for them. So and again, it'll make the president want to work for the country. He's getting no perks from this. So the next budget cuts. The IRS, the BLM, and the EPA. That's the Internal Revenue Service, Bureau of Land Management, and the Environmental Protection Agency. We'll initially get a 10 to 20% budget cut per year over the next 4 years. Early retirement will be given to those, and those retired will not be replaced. This also saves us on the budget, and because I don't have access to exact figures of how many people are eligible for retirement. I can't throw that into those figures, so I can't give that figure. However, with the budget cuts on top of the workforce reduction, we could see it over $3 billion saved in the annual budget a year. Because the IRS's budget is like $11 billion. That's billion with a B. We'll save $3 billion right there. Just on those three agencies, excuse me. Not just the IRS, just all three together. Also, all three agencies will have their powers reduced, as they've all shown recently that their powers are being abused on the American people, and this is just unacceptable. I mean, it's not the first time these guys have been corrupt under Obama. It's not just been under Obama, it's been under the presidents. But it's about time they're done. It's over with now. So let's look at each individual agency. The IRS, we focus on them. Now, along with the budget cuts, we begin to phase out the IRS over a 2-year period. A federal IRS isn't necessary, as each state has its own branch of the IRS, basically their own version of the IRS. We'll focus on cutting down the federal IRS down to under about 30 people. Their jobs will be to make sure the state books are correct and that the proper monies are being sent to the federal government. and that the state owes, and also making sure that the federal government agencies are keeping legal with their financials. Each state's IRS will now be responsible for all the taxes collected in their state, especially since most of the money is going to stay in their states anyway. Now, doing this will now drastically drop the federal IRS's budget dramatically, from a multi-billion-dollar budget to just a few million for payroll and equipment. We could also cut this budget clear down to zero by just having the remaining IRS agents absorbed into the Treasury Department. However, I would prefer to keep an eye on them. Just keep it to a few $1 million. Next is the BLM. Bureau of Land Management. Like the IRS, there is no need for a fully fledged federal agency. Both states already have a park management service, or some sort of land agency. Like we did with the federal IRS, we phased out the BLM, only to leave just a few workers, active agents, to make sure the states comply with keeping their parks and land clean. The BLM will now only use local law enforcement if actions needed to be taken, and we will also begin to phase out period of returning federal. We begin a phase out period of federally owned parks and land to go back to the states and any landowners that's been taken from, as there's no need or reason for the federal government owning land. No need for it. Now for the EPA. Again, like with the two agencies, the IRS and the BLM, we phased out the federal branch to just down to about 7 to 10 person council, whose job is only to make sure that the states keep up and enforce clean land, clean water, and clean air guidelines. The EPA will also have no federal forces and will only use local law enforcement in cooperation with state governments. The EPA will be totally stripped of all its powers except if a state is found to be corrupted and willfully polluting its environment. And that's the key. That's what it was originally made for. The EPA has gotten out of control, just like the BLM and the IRS. Now the EPA is no longer just against pollution, it's about water rights. And they passed, it's not a law, it's more of an executive order, where now they can control pretty much every water right, everything with water that there is. It's so bad now that they can actually tell people who have ponds on it, who constructed ponds on their land, to get rid of them. There's multiple examples already of people who built ponds, like a koi pond, on their own land. And the EPA coming, even though they got approval from the city and approval from the state, the EPA comes in, well, you don't have our approval, we're going to fine you. Every day every day, every week, every month, that pond is there until you get rid of it. And that's just bullshit. Not going to happen anymore because they're gone. So by dropping these three agencies to these levels, we would see nearly an additional $30 billion, again with a B, plus dollars saved in federal spending. Now that's a conservative estimate. I think we'd be saving much, much more. Because I don't think I was able to find the entire thing online, because I know there's a lot of, I think those are all conservative estimates that I found. I think it'd be a hell of a lot more, too. But just with that figure, you got $30 billion plus $42 million with an M. So $30 billion and $42 million saved a year in your budget. I would actually say you'd probably be saving $50 billion to $75 billion a year. And that's a lot of money. So, and that's more you can divert to infrastructure or paying down our debt, national debt. So, those are my plans on how we can save money right off the bat. Give me more time, I'll probably find something else out, but those are like the major ones, the major players. We start thinning them out, we start draining the swamp. Term limits would be next, as well as probably the Electoral College. I do a video on those coming up. Once I got some more reviews coming up, but that's what we got for today. Long day videos today. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. What would you do? Any amendment plan you think could be done. Again, down below, like or dislike, comment, and subscribe. As always, you guys take care. I will see you next time.